Yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a tutti.
What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJ Sear channel, locked in on everything Juve, all right? And it is the day after our opening match, our first match with Motta, and my God, you would have thought it was a funeral. Calm down. Take it easy, all right? But they don't play them for nothing, so there were some signs that I think were there that we do need to discuss. And then, of course, we'll talk about some of the individuals who are on the cusp of potentially moving away from Juve and how we thought they looked through this game. And, of course, touch on the latest news as we had a couple of shifts this week. A little bit of a roller coaster. We do end up getting the 2 sales we anticipated. And now we are anticipating a couple of pickups to come in and help Motta, right? So, of course, we're going to tackle it all together right now. And I've got the usual cast for the Mercado Madness with me. Omer and Trim, how are you fellas doing?
I'm great. How are you? How is everyone in the chat? Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. And let's have some fun.
I'm doing great. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. Trim, how you doing, brother?
Pretty good. The sun is up today, so you know, after yesterday's performance, you'd think to yourself, is it actually going to come up? Are we going to get some sunny days ahead? I don't know. Everybody's kind of freaking out, but I like to take the long approach and just kind of sit back and say, take it easy.
It's par for the course to get a little fired up, you know. Sweaty coming in here. Hello, guys. Agreed with everything Alberto said yesterday. Keep fede. Bring Coop and bring Conceição on loan. Well, we'll take a look at that as one of the plans in the attack was revealed by Alfredo Pegula there. How much is actually credible out of that, we will see. But those are the 4 main names that have been rumored. We will definitely get to the attack, all right? But first up, we've got to talk the 3-0 defeat in a friendly against Nurnberg yesterday, all right? So, again, you would have thought this was, a Champions League knockout round in some of the reactions, okay? And, yeah, I would still say, based on everyone's feelings going into the game, the predictions and everything, everybody still felt Juve would win and thought we would have probably a better showing and whatnot. But was it really that bad? Was it really that big of a surprise? And just let's get our thoughts on this game. While I wouldn't say there's nothing to take out of it, there was some signs there, but I think I'm going to be alone on a hill in my actual feelings, and I think it would rub a lot of people the wrong way. But just your guys' general thoughts coming out of this matchup. And we're going to start with Omer, as there was, a lot of fans I think are more trying to prove a point, maybe saying I told you so, using one preseason match. But Omer, what were your thoughts about that game?
Well, it wasn't a good game from Juve's standpoint in general. Again, it's like first preseason friendly. We start in a month. Nuremberg start their matches next week, basically, so they're a bit more ready. I have seen some things that I like, but in general, it wasn't a great game. And yeah, that's Division 2 team. Well, the starting 11 were a Serie C team in general. Most of those guys played in Serie C last season. So yeah, some takeaways, but not a whole lot. I didn't expect 3-0, but I didn't expect a win too.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I expected a win. I'll be quite honest. I expected us to beat that team. Was I like terribly surprised at how it went down? Some of it. I think first half kind of caught me off guard with how passive we were. I didn't expect that. And it was funny. It was interesting. There was waves to this game. But, are we going to be capable more? Absolutely. Am I still confident that we're going to be better? Absolutely. There's still signs in there, and we'll get to them. But, Trim, your thoughts on this one going into it?
Yeah, so like full disclosure, I was obviously working here in Toronto during the day, so kind of running around a bit, but I was fortunate enough, well, I would say fortunate enough to catch the first half. And I say unfortunately because that was the worst half of the two, in my opinion, from what I saw. Yeah, just, I don't know, the sense that I got, and it's not about making excuses or anything, but for me, I saw a team that is in second gear, ready to start their season. And then I saw our side that to me just looked pretty tired, to be honest. I don't know, like they didn't seem to have the energy, and I can understand that based on everything that's coming out of the pressers of Motta'S training. So with the long term or the long view approach, you have to think that down the road, when the games actually matter, they're going to start to have that conditioning. And again, keep in mind that we're missing a bunch of guys, but yeah, it wasn't good. They didn't play well. We'll talk about the individual performances in terms of players, but like some of those next gen guys, like, yeah, just didn't do it for us. But again, like that's
Yeah.
kind of be their level. Nurnberg is supposed to be kind of their level in terms of who they'd play against in Serie C, but some of those, yeah, Serie A starters, I could see that some of the comments, there were some pretty poor performances from some guys that you'd think would play a lot better. But again, I just, for me, I don't know. It's way too early to start overreacting. Like you can say, yeah, it wasn't good. Just flush it and move on, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at this game, and I mean, again, it's kind of the age old story. And for the Allegri fans, they know more than anybody because they've been the ones saying that better players equals better play. Our starting lineup had Barbieri and Comenencia on the right side. They were terrible. I'm going to be quite honest. Like, Comenencia was a mess. You can't tell me if it was a Yildiz up there in that position or even a Chiesa for that matter, it wouldn't have been better. He lost the ball 50% of the times he had it with nothing happening from it. Luis Hassa, he did a good job on the other side. He was trying his best, but Barbieri was brutal. Also, on that first goal, terrible decision making from his part and got stripped. And Thiago Giallo was caught on that one, flat-footed, as another player, I believe it was Schleimer, had stopped the ball, and that froze Giallo, and he was going to cheat on him, and then Jander picked it up off his feet. So, yeah, Giallo needed to be a little better. But that right side with Comenencia and Barbieri was just shocking. Sekulov was a ghost up top. He might as well have not even been out there. We might as well have played 10 men. Okay? And Rui on the other side, Jonas Rui there at left back was okay. Facundo Gonzalez, okay. The pivots, Thuram and Locatelli. One thing I will say, between Thuram and Locatelli, I need Thuram on the ball a bit more. I need him on the ball way more. And in the second half, I saw the same kind of trend. And that's why I say, how much do you really take out of this game? And not a whole lot, you guys. Not a whole lot. Like, you just got to see the ideas more than anything. And it's about them getting in game shape. But Sekulov now has been like, every time I've seen him, it just really doesn't show me much of anything, this guy. So in terms of the second half and all the changes, well, same thing. Caviglia and Fagioli needed to get on the ball way more. We had the ball with Cabal and Gatti like way too much. Gatti especially. So there are things to work on, but that's exactly what this is about. This is not, that's it, it's the end, let's blow it up again. No. It's just relax. The goals that we gave up were mistakes. We can clean that up. I remember in 2013, we lost to the LA Galaxy 3-1 in a friendly. Should we have blown that thing up there? Because that was actually a hell of a season by the end of it. So just
We
calm
did beat
down.
Real Madrid last season, and look how
Yeah,
that turned out. I mean, it means nothing,
it
basically,
means
just for the players to
nothing.
get warmed up.
Yeah,
It's more
I agree.
fitness. It's more, the understanding. But it's going to be the understanding with the regulars, not these guys that you're not going to see. But we will talk about individual performances. Miretti in the first half. What were your guys' thoughts on Miretti's game? I'm going to be I'll just kind of guide this one for me personally. I'll share my thoughts. I still see the same player. Like, I see a guy that's like really good in movement, fantastic movement, good distributor. I don't know if system and this new style under Malta is going to be what carries him to the next level, because I don't think it has anything to do with system, style, or setup. Every time the decision making and the instincts need to be quicker, it's when it doesn't come from him. And it's that final third. And I saw more of that yesterday. I'm still leaning towards loaning him out. What did you guys see in Moretti? Where do you stand on him? We'll start with Trim.
You took the words right out of my mouth. It's the decision making. It's actually kind of funny in the sense that when I watch him, it's almost like I can see his thoughts and what he's thinking in terms of, like, you see the movements, the patterns of play where he wants to go. And then all at once, it's just kind of like there's like a question mark that pops up above his head. And it's like he just stalls and he doesn't know what to do from there. So, yeah, like he shows flashes. But again, I don't think bringing in a new coach is going to change him ultimately. I think he can benefit greatly from going out on loan this season and come back after a full season of playing, getting starting minutes in Serie A, hopefully with the team he goes out on loan with, and comes back, and we'll see what happens in a year's time. Obviously, he's still young. He's going to continue to grow and get better, but just in terms of his decision making and in-game play, it will get better and improve the more he plays, and maybe under a different manager, a different set of eyes will help him in that sense too as well, right? So would be nice to try to send him to a club that maybe plays a similar style to Motta. I know it's not very, it's not common. He kind of plays a different style of play, but just something to kind of make him feel like he's still part of the team. And, I wouldn't go with outright sale just yet. I'm saying 1 year loan's good for me.
There you go. There you go. Your thoughts on Moretti, Omer?
I don't know what to make of him. Like you said, you can see he's getting into the right places, but then if he passed his passes just one move earlier, a second earlier, and like it seems like it all works out. But when he does have to pass them, he always delays, and the chances are gone. He needs to play quicker, and I'm actually kind of disappointed with him because out of all the guys on the field, he's one of the few who actually does play for Juve. And for the first team, I expected him to shine above the Nurnberg players. I didn't expect Comenencia or Barbieri or anyone. I mainly looked at Locatelli and him and Thuram. Those are like the senior guys. So yeah, a loan or a sale, doesn't really matter, to be honest. If there's a good price, I would sell him. A loan would probably benefit him more. But it's going into season 3 now, and still too little for me. He's shown too little for the amount of minutes he's gotten.
Your thoughts on Locatelli, who's taken, again, a ton of heat out of yesterday's preseason game, Omer?
Yeah, not a good performance. Not something to remember. Same thing that I can say about Moretti. The only difference is I do think he misses the CDM role. Maybe that chance of a double pivot is gone for him now after 3 seasons of being a CDM. But if we do play with a CDM, I still think he's the best in the team, so a bit more place for him.
Interesting. Trim, your thoughts on Loca's game yesterday?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I have a different outlook, or was expecting a little bit differently than other viewers and other fans. But like from what I saw, he didn't look too bad at all. Like, I mean, again, everybody had moments of poorness yesterday. Like, let's be fair, that it's true. But there were a lot of things like with him. I really like his vision and his attempting passes and switching play. Like, I know we talked about that a little bit yesterday in our chat, and just for me, he's got to have the ball quite a bit to disperse it. And then, like you said, with Thuram as well, between the two of them in that double pivot role, it's important for them to have the ball and try to switch the field and look for open guys up top. And to be fair, like, again, I think it was Motta mentioned this about someone like Vlahovic. Like, he will impact the game when his teammates around him have the same kind of impact, right? So I felt that way yesterday. It's like Locatelli's looking for guys up top. We just finished saying how Sekulov was like a ghost out there. And there was one play where he had the ball and he tried to like a little flick over the top to try to get it above the defender, and Sekulov was up there for an aerial duel and he just couldn't come down with it. Like, it was a nice play. He was trying to get it behind the defenders, but it just, yeah, I don't know. You and I, Al, we kind of have the same opinion of Luca. I've always liked him. I still think that he's a great player. Now, could you argue that he might not start every game? Sure, why not? But I think there's still a really good player there, and I think he'll benefit this year from Motta. That's for sure.
Well, there's like, it was a bad combination on both sets of rosters.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like Thuram and Locatelli were just all power and less creativity, and Caviglia and who was it? Fagioli were all creativity, no muscles. So I would have done like a different setup to complement.
And this is another thing.
First match, come on.
Like, and this is exactly it. I see some of the comments too. Like, this is effing Juventus. We need to win trophies, is what we're expecting. There's no trophies up for grabs in the first preseason game, okay? There's no trophies up for grabs there. And if you think we're playing for a trophy, would you expect Barbieri, Gomenencia, Rui to be out on the pitch there? Probably not. You know, Facundo Gonzalez, I love him as a young talent. Whenever today the news is he's for sure getting loaned out. It is what it is, right? Like, again, it's not... We're making a little bit much out of this. This we got to like just break down into what it's really for. These matches are about starting to get an understanding of what his ideas are with the team. This is the first piece of tape Motta'S going to have with some, not even all, of his actual roster. The first piece of tape he's going to have with some of his roster that he can actually break down with them and show them what he wants, what he sees, what he needs done from them in their roles. As far as Locatelli goes, I don't understand how that was like created so much outrage yesterday. I mean, he was the only one out of the middle of the park switching the field, and that stands for the second half when Fagioli and Caviglia even came in there. Luca was the one switching it out, getting our wingers in 1v1s. Comenencia made a mess of like 3. Hassa was trying his best, but Hoffman really had him on lockdown there on that side. But it wasn't great, but it wasn't great from anybody. I just don't understand this outrage over it and like what people are seeing based on his play. Like, it's, again, just calm down. Take it easy. All right? We do have other players we need to discuss. Diogo Jallo. Thoughts on Jallo's game there?
It looked like most of the players, like Trim alluded to, they looked a bit out of shape. Maybe tired, maybe preseason, maybe a bit too fast of a pace for Serie C players, for most of them. And Jallo kind of fitted into that slot of looking a bit maybe tired and just out of pace, lack of understanding. Well, obviously, never played with Gonzalez, so yeah, there are mitigating circumstances here. Again, preseason friendly. Yeah, he did bad. Fine, he can improve.
Yeah, for me, like, literally, he looked like a guy that hasn't played in how long? A year and a half? Like, he played last year 1 game, but Max didn't play him last year. So, I mean, again, people are going to say, how much stake do you take in a preseason game? Is there really, that much structure and stuff that like as a player you can kind of build off of from that? But still, it's a game. Like, he was thrown in there. You gotta, like, for me, I know I said this to you yesterday, Al, I would rather these guys look like this yesterday in preseason in end of July than in the middle of January in a Champions League round of 16 game, like, or a Serie A, crucial Serie A game where we need the 3 points. Like, let's everybody just take a step back, call the players out, and give our opinion on their performance for what it is, but not get like way over the top here.
Yeah, and it's all about the reaction, really. It's going to be all about the reaction. we're going to see what this team's going to be made of, what the regulars are going to bring as this preseason goes on. And we are going to get to a dress rehearsal in this preseason.
Yeah.
But it's more the ideas for me. With Thiago Jallo, it's like, again, it's not something I'm terribly concerned with. I do see some comments in there about he is a fullback. He is not a center back, etc. Well, guess what? Guess what? Under Motta, he's going to have to figure it out, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but the amount of rotation that happened positionally was wild. So you almost got to be ready for everything. On the flip side, in the second half, that was more of what I was expecting, especially at the start of it. Like, good pressure, good control on the ball, trying to create some idea, like trying to create more. And the wings were instantly better, and it helped his game. Mbangula was great, I thought, in the second half. He was working hard, and he was having better success rate than Luis Hassa. Weah looked good. Weah looked good, in my opinion, when he came on second half. Adzic, I thought Adzic looked good. But again, these are guys I wanted on the ball more. Adzic, Fagioli, and Caviglia. And we weren't really doing that. So that's where the work really needs to come in. Savona, I thought Savona looked good too. I thought that his pace really stands out, and it's hard for the guys there to get a step on him. And keep in mind, they're at the end of their preseason. They could not gain a step on Savona, trying to go through those through balls and whatnot. Like, he is quick, and he's pretty sharp, and he keeps his game simple. I like that. The defense has some question marks. The attack has some question marks for me. You got to put it together. And right now, it's more the ideas. And I'm going to talk about the ideas, because I'm going to take a little bit of this. I was looking at it with a little bit of this angle that maybe not too many people were feeling there, because, again, you've got some already talking about, expectations and all this. And for me, it was the ideas. And I was actually a little bit surprised at how much of Motta'S game is actually coming through already. Like, just as far as the ideas, as far as what they were trying to do. I didn't expect to see all of those facets at least attempted for so much of that game, like, immediately. I thought when we lose the ball in the final third, I liked the intensity and the pressure to get it back. That was kind of consistent throughout that game. I thought the first half we had a lot of passive minutes in there where we were comfortable without the ball. We got to snap out of that. And Motta even spoke to that after the game. Said second half, much, much better in terms of what we want to see. We want to be on the ball. We want to control the game. We did not control the game in the first half whatsoever. Blame it on players, blame it on whatever. You could call it whatever you want. We did not control the first half the way we wanted to. Okay, and I think some of the expectations were that that's what we were going to do in this game. I had the expectations that we were going to control the game. So I think that's why I was kind of let down in the performance, but I'm not making a mountain out of it. Okay, I did like that. I liked the rotation amongst the players. I thought that was fantastic. I thought all the movement was great. Again, first game of preseason, the tempo that we played with didn't match. So all the movement and a lot of it was for naught, because we weren't sharp enough and we weren't quick enough. And the tempo we played at didn't really match all that movement that was happening. Outside of that, the general ideas, how many times we were getting wingers in favorable situations, I can't help but feel that gets better if it's a guy like Fede Chiesa or if it's a guy like Yildiz in those positions, as opposed to Comenencia, or even some of these other guys. But even with Weah, it would play to his hand, getting him in more 1v1 scenarios. And we still did some good things, especially second half. We really got deep and found trailing runs. Cambiaso had a shot. He forced a big save. There was another one from Caviglia. His got blocked by a defender, and that was all from gaining the area and then dropping it back. Weah did good, earned a PK. Vlahovic didn't bury. Like, it's not all doom and gloom. this is a build. You learn what you have in players. This first game was a learning curve for Motta. But the ideas, I liked the ideas. How do you feel about the ideas and how much of it was visible, Omer?
Well, the second half was an improvement based on because we just controlled the ball more and we dictated the play a lot more. We did have some sequences where we managed to get into the area through passing and not forcing it. I wish we could have scored. But still, we have seen something a bit different with the guys that are supposed to be better. Like my main focus was again the attack because defense we kind of had no one who actually supposed to start in when the league comes on, so I didn't expect a whole lot from there. But yeah, we saw some type of different style of play from what we were used to, from what those players were used to. So I hope the goals will come. And there were some sequences that I liked. Some of those players looked actually pretty good. Savona was, just in my opinion, the most impressive one out of the youngsters. He was the only one who didn't seem tired or playing beneath, well, above his level. So that's about it. Not a whole lot to take from it, to be honest.
Yeah.
A lot of
And
movement. Yeah, there were a lot of movements and position shifts between the players.
Mark one here with his only disappointment is we have very few friendlies to play. We will not be in total form at the beginning of the season. This is a legitimate concern. Probably a fair concern coming out of that game. Would you say, Trim?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it helps to play more friendlies to get more ready game shape. Tactics wise, it helps you set up more as opposed to just training on a training pitch. So I can see it. I can see Mark One's point there for sure, and I would agree. But the question would be how many more games? Like we're talking maybe two more games, three more games, because you know I would say when you get to a certain number, maybe like 5, 6 preseason games, if you play more than that, it tends to obviously become well, it's tough, right? Because you're also trying to train at the same time. So just depends. But like I said, in terms of their training sessions are shorter this year, but they're more intense. So I would like to think that that's going to help them long term, stay more fit during the year, less injuries, hopefully, knock on wood. And like I said, just yesterday, you could see it. It just they were out of sorts, and I think a lot of that is due to the training. Like they're just tired now. It's not an excuse because again, it's just early on. So we'll see what happens. But as for Motta's kind of tactics, game plan ideas, you could see it yesterday. And again, it was we alluded to it and we touched on it. It's two different halves. So it seemed like it came through more in spades in the second half with more of the ready-made starters and Serie A players that are going to be there game in and game out. You could see it more in that second half. The first half, there were glimpses of it in terms of like players that I thought, either stood out in a positive or a negative. One guy in particular, I just want to mention, Hassa. Like, it's weird. I don't know. I mentioned this to you yesterday, Al. Like, for me, Luis Hassa, when I was watching him, he gave me a lot of Federico Chiesa vibes in the sense that he's coming down that wing. He's shifty. He's streaky. He's pretty quick. But I felt like there were times where he was trying too much. And like you said, Hoffman on that right hand side, he shut him down completely. There were many times where he tried to beat him wide and cross it in with his left foot, and it's just like the defender was with him the whole way. So again, I know he's a young guy, and there's a lot of potential there. I hope they end up working things out and sorting things out with the contract so he sticks around. But I don't know. He reminded me a lot of Chiesa, like trying to do too much. Almost got the feeling that whoever he had up there with him, in this case Sekulov, like maybe he didn't have full trust in him in terms of what he can do. So
yeah, I would agree that it looked like at times he was trying to do a little bit too much. But Hassa's a good talent. I don't know what's going to happen there with the contract stuff, but he's still not a guy I see making the cut for this season, the 24-25 season. So something's got to give there. And I think that's kind of where Hassa's coming from, is that he feels he's above NextGen, ready for, some top tier minutes and stuff like that. I don't think that's crazy to say, judging by his game and whatnot, but I'm just not sure it's with us, but the attack is going to have to get looked at. Dr. A coming in here with a super chat comment. Gatti should be sold, so as Miretti and Luca. We'll talk about their performances. And then he brings up you sell Sule and keep Miretti, who's a joke. Well, there's a lot of circumstances around all of this and we are going to get to the sales of Sule and Huijsen, which obviously was a big U-turn from where we were at. There was one point this week where we thought we were going to have to back out on top targets because we can't move these guys the way we want to. But in the end, there is a deal found with Roma and there is a deal found with Bournemouth for Huijsen. We will take a look at that. As far as Gatti, selling Gatti, again, you've got to wait. You've got to wait and just kind of... We don't want to give ourselves too much work, all right? Like, that's another thing. And again, just a lot can change. This team's still trying to figure this out. Let's just calm down. Calm down, all right? Marco Tomic coming in here saying, hey, boys, it's just a preseason game. Nothing to worry about. Forza, relax. You know, time could be of the essence, so because you can see, again, with the ideas, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in terms of the play. It's night and day to what they're trying to do. It doesn't happen like that. For those, and one of the early Storm the Barns coming in here from YFG, them, and, you know, what advice would you guys give to the Juve fans overreacting, having a complete meltdown over this preseason loss? Even saw a few tweets cursing Motta. That's just crazy. Well, I say this, you know, it's wild to me that so much is invested in the first preseason game. Not even like a dress rehearsal preseason game, the first preseason game. It's crazy to me. If you're taking it that serious for just the very first preseason game, my thoughts are that maybe it's more of I told you so. People clinging to something that they want more their point to come across, and more than anything, okay? But I can't feel that way. My whole perception, my whole opinion is to, obviously calm down. If you went into yesterday's game expecting the finished product, we did not hire a coach. We hired a fucking wizard if he would have had finished product yesterday in that game. Although, I still think it should have probably been a little bit better, but I just think that player mix, when you see a big difference from first half to second half, it's got to come down to personnel. So that's why I'm not really losing it too much. However, like Alex P said, what's interesting is you've got a second half that we played better and still ended up getting thumped and go 2-0 in the second half. 3-0 total, right? But the goals we allowed were brutal. Brutal goals to allow. Some key mistakes there. Do those key mistakes happen further into the season? I doubt it. Are we going to be allowing 5 big chances to every team we play under Motta? I doubt it.
No, I'm also going to guess you won't see Gonzalez and Giallo pairing in the league, and you're not going to see Gatti and Cabal as a pairing in the league, unless things are really bad. So not a lot to take from the defense. Of course, if it's Bremer and Danilo there, then everything looks different. But that's not a fair comparison to the players who did play for the first time with each other. Gatti, I thought he took it a bit too far. I don't know what to make of him. I mean, it's a friendly, and he got angry and started pushing and just getting into fight. That was redundant. Just focus on the game. There's nothing to gain from it.
He's got a mean streak in him. It is what it is. He's not the first guy. He's not the last guy that's going to have a mean streak in him. I mean, we've seen him punch a guy in the chest. We've seen him get involved in some shit housing. It's part of his game. I don't think he shuts it off, whether it's preseason or a regular season game or a Coppa Italia game, like I don't think he turns that off. I think that's just part of him. It's, you know, I don't
Yeah,
know with Gatti though. Like at some point though, there has to be, some significant step ups. Yesterday, I did not like how much he was on the ball. On the flip side though, Cabal I thought looked very good.
Yeah,
yeah.
I like.
Cabal was actually the more impressive guy out of all the center backs that played yesterday.
Yeah, I thought Cabal looked very good. Shifted out and rotated with Cambiaso very well. Got forward in a couple of movements. Actually put in a very dangerous cross there. It is what it is. I think with Cabal that was a decent pickup on the cheap, and I like that one. I like that one. It's not all doom and gloom, everybody. Take it easy. Take it easy. And again, going back to some comments here. We are not Fiorentina. Al, this one coming from Alex P. We can't wait for mediocre players to start playing for years. Got to evaluate better and move on. I agree. However, is now the time? That's my point. You're already making a ton of changes. How much additional do you want to add if it's not the time? Like guys that are saying, Gatti, Danilo, get rid of them. Now's not the time. Because one of the major things that's getting overlooked here is we still have to comply with FFP. That is a thing for Juventus, unfortunately. Okay? We cannot be in the mix with some of these other clubs that get the slap on the wrist. This is the year to comply with that. Giuntoli's making all of these changes and these sales and these moves while also hitting positives on the books that are crucial. You got to be careful in how much work you try to give, because every move you make, that's another pickup you're going to have to do. We're not filling the void of getting rid of some of these guys with in-house players. Sekulov's not coming up anytime soon to boost the attack. Bangula looked good yesterday. He's not coming up. Comenencia is not coming up. So you got to still balance things out. I do trust that eventually, the guys that aren't cutting it will be moved. They will be moved. But that's really it for that game. It's the first preseason, guys. Take it easy. Let's see what happens. It's all about the reaction. Motta'S words, very clear. We didn't control the game. We wanted to control the game. Second half was better, but it was a good defeat because we learned. We learned what we need to do, and he's like, we need to improve quickly. He didn't throw anybody under the bus. He could have easily done what we all saw, which was a lot of the players in the first half shit the bed. But he didn't do that. It is what it is. We move. That's not the lineup we're going to be going to, okay? Make or break. Just relax. And yes, better players equals better play. Calm down. The sales. Sule was brought up earlier. Dr. A not happy about selling Sule and keeping Miretti, etc. I don't believe Miretti stays. I think Miretti is probably heading out on a loan, if anything. But Como is said to be coming in for a sale. If the price is good enough, I wouldn't be surprised if Juve sold. But for me, I think I might still keep him as property for this time being. But the Sule sale, 26 million. 2 million in easy incentives, 2 million in difficult incentives, 10% sell-on clause. A lot of not really outrage, but a lot of pissed off Juventini about the price tag. Okay? So the price tag. Is that too much? That price tag, was it too little? Was it too little? Excuse me, not too much. Was it too little? Did we give in on the Sule sale? Should we have stuck to our guns?
We might have given in a bit, but that's like negotiations. I'm sure they've given up a lot. They expected, what was it, like 18 million at the beginning with bonuses for Sule. Both sides had to, just make different demands as things went along, and it wasn't the benefit of both clubs. Giuntoli would not have gone under a number that would have allowed him to get Coop Miners. He knew what his base number was, that he can't go below that. Um, so I'm sure it's all planned. I mean, the prices, yeah, where did the pricing come from? Like the evaluation on Sule. Let's be real. Would you have paid 40 million for a guy who was demoted with Frosinone on loan? If he was playing for a different team, if we would have bought him from Roma, would you have been happy with that price? I don't think he's worth 40. He is one. He was one of the better players that we could have sold. I mean, look at the offers. There are no offers, not for Chiesa, not for Milik. We had a bad season. The players other clubs are willing to pay for were the ones who actually had a decent season.
Yeah.
But we did have to bend a bit. Yeah, maybe we could have squeezed out a little more, but still, I'm sure it's enough to close at least the Coop Miners deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it is. And Trim, your thoughts on the fans that were upset about the price and said we give in?
So I would say I would not be with those fans that are upset with the price. Sure, we'd always obviously like to get more.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would nitpick for me personally is the fact that we sold to another Serie A team, which is Roma. But to flip it the other way, I'm actually impressed that we got that much money out of Roma. Like, you can look at it both ways, because when was the last time they've spent that much money on one of our players, or even just a player in general? Like, they don't typically spend a lot of money, these teams, right? So, I mean, even for them, that's considered to be a pretty decent sized purchase. So I was hoping that we'd hold out for the Premier League. Again, the player and his entourage, they wanted Roma, obviously. I don't really know what it is about that project that intrigued them, other than the fact that they have Paredes and Dybala. But I mean, hey, all the power to him. He's going there. Now I actually wish him the best, and I hope that he plays well, because like Omer alluded to last week on the cast, in a year or two, they're more than likely going to sell him, because players don't really stay at Roma too long, especially a young player like that, because if he hits the ground running and he starts to play well, teams around the world are going to take notice and want to look into purchasing him. They make another big sale, and we get, what, 10% on the sell on? Like, it's pretty
And that
decent.
would be the actual price.
And then it would hit actual target price. Yeah.
Exactly.
Originally.
Exactly.
That's what that's what those clauses do, right? Is protect original price, essentially. Unless you're like you could find a Bologna that will accept a 50% frickin' sell-on clause. You know, other than that, it pretty much protects your original price. But I think a lot of it's funny because, again, what I've been saying over these past few weeks is like a player's value is essentially whatever a team's willing to come in for. That's what a player's value is. Like, you can look through mainly it's that, but it is partially like, you know, what happens in the window, okay, and the market itself. And when you see guys, certain names that are going, you know, 30, 40, have those price tags on there, I don't think it was wild to state that Sule should be shopped at 40 million euros. I named that price tag throughout this season when he was going. I was like, I think, you know, 40, 45, depending how his season ends and finishes, Juve should push for. Will we get it? Well, maybe not. Maybe not, but there's a lot of factors to think about. Number one, his will. He chose Roma. We could have got more money. We had more money on the table from Leicester. That was pretty much going to hit that 40 all in, said and done. But his will kicked in. We had to take a bit of a hit here. And the one thing why I don't complain about the prices is because there's a value. There's a value associated right now for Juve in being able to move on and hit your next target. So if we give a break on Sule, but that means picking up Cope Miners like this coming week, that is worth 5 to 10 million for me alone, just in getting that move done and moving forward in the Mercado. With Huijsen at 18 million plus potentially a 10% sell on, that one upset fans more than the Sule one because it's so low. But again, it's so low because we were hearing 30 in media. But while all these discussions were happening, we were hearing that nobody liked the 25 million tag on him. They didn't like the 25 million tag. So at the end of the day, yeah, you can aim for 30, 40, whatever. But again, even with Huijsen, there is value there that accounts for that to move on for Todibo. You know? So for me, it's obvious, and obviously it's evident that Giuntoli wanted to move forward. He's done with the stalling. It's time to get those guys in, especially now the team's getting closer to they are going back to Italy, right? There's some value in that too.
Yeah, I'm sure it's all calculated by Giuntoli and the staff. Yeah, I don't know. Huijsen might be a good player, a better player even, but still, it's Bournemouth. They had some big offers besides that, but we're disregarding the players' will. There's a third side to all those transfers. It's not only the two clubs. Sula stood his ground, and for a time, Huijsen too. He didn't want to go to Wolfsburg or Stuttgart. So yeah, we gotta take that into account as well. That's the reason we are going to get Coop, because of his will to join Juve. If it was up to Atalanta, he would not have come to Juve. Period.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's all calculated, and the wheels are already in motion. I think Todibo's agent is in Italy today, or was even yesterday. And so yeah, even before the sale is complete, things are already moving based off that sale.
Yeah.
Both those two sales.
The other thing is too, Huijsen going there in the Prem League, if he does hit, and this is why I see it kind of like win-win for us with these guys, because if Sule hits it big, he gets a good sale on from Roma. He will move on if he hits it big and he hits his potential. He will move on. We get that percentage, and that takes us to our price that we thought was too much, you know, and that we think if we were going to pick him up, that's a bit too much. Well, then we get that price with that sell-on clause in the end. With Huijsen, same thing. If we can get that sale-on clause to 20%, if that is in fact, because there's rumors all over the place, 10, 15, 20, let's see what it finalizes at. But if it's 20, fantastic, because you know the Prem teams, if he hits it, he's going to have a big sale on him, right? And the second side of this is the feeling of abandoning NextGen and the youth at Juve. So there was two issues the fan base kind of had, not the entire fan base, but some of the fan base had in these moves. One was the prices, which we have said it is what it is. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. We gave reasons why. But the second was abandoning NextGen and the youth. Where do you stand on that? And do you see this as, you know, that's exactly what we're doing, is abandoning NextGen and the youth?
Well, Trim, go ahead.
For me, I don't see it as abandoning the youth. I mean, we already have some next-gen products that are playing for Juventus that we always forget about, like Fagioli, like Yildiz, Miretti here and there. So they're just picking and choosing who they want, and it looks like it's going to be the top guys that are going to be the ones that end up cracking the squad, which makes sense. And having a youth system that you produce fairly decent to good players and then you move them on, it's a no-brainer, because that's money in your pocket that you're going to be able to use and get those ready-made talents like a Todibo, like a Coop. You know, there's still the other side of it too, is there's still guys in next gen right now that are potentially going to make first teams in the world if they don't stay with Juve, like a Hasa, like a Savona, like you know, all these guys down there, and Bangula, like Nonje has been pretty good, but he's going to be moved on. So there are pieces there in next gen. It's just, you know, not all of them are going to play. How many times do we hear fans allude to, you know, we can't be running around on the field with 19, 20, and 21-year-old players. Like, you need ready, established players. You can't have a full team of youngsters, right? So it's going to be the surefire, can't miss talents that are going to end up making it, sprinkled in with ones like, you know, we acquire and pick up a guy like Adzic, and he looks like he's going straight to the first team and he's going to bypass next gen. So I say pump the brakes a bit, you know, with the guys that we're selling. Again, yeah, sure, they're a guy like Huijsen, more so than Sule, looks like he's going to be, or could be, a bona fide starting center back for years to come. But again, he has to, number one, prove it, and number two, it's just the will of the player a lot of the times with these guys and the opportunities, right? So, but no, for me, next gen, I like what they're doing. I like that they're kind of running the ship or steering the ship along the lines of the first team to kind of keep it all the same. And when they do come up, the players that do come up, they're already kind of well prepared for what they're expected in the first team role. So, yeah, no, I have no issues with it.
Okay, and Omer, your feelings on us abandoning next gen?
Well, not a lot to add to what Trin said, but that's what the next gen is for. I'm sorry to burst the bubble. We saw a team full of next gen yesterday, and we're complaining about it since yesterday. So you can't tell me you want all of them to play, but shit on them the minute they play, because we've seen they're clearly not good enough for that level yet. So yeah, Sule and Hoysen, they account for nothing on Juve's book, so that's also a plus in those deals. And that's what you get from selling those youngsters. And the guys who are possibly good enough are still with the team. You can't have anyone. You still have Fagioli in there. We gave Miretti a run. Ildiz is with the team. Keane was given a fair run to prove himself. I mean, those who are deemed to be good enough do get their chances.
Yeah.
But most of those guys will be sold. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. I can't help but going back to the presser that Agnelli gave, and then Allegri was backing in one of his pressers, and I can't help but feel like, and I laughed when we heard it. I remember coming on this show and literally laughing about it when they were saying, oh yeah, we're going to be integrating 8 next gen players, like annually, whatever, like that's the aim. No, that should never be the aim, and I seriously hope that's not the aim. So I feel like some people may have actually bought into that. That is not the case and should not be the case for Juve. Otherwise, we have way bigger problems than one preseason match that everybody wants to flip out on, okay? This is Juventus. So ready now talent and plucking the best ready now talent, especially in Serie A, is kind of Juve's thing, and it's something we need to get back to. Ready now talent. As far as next gen, the project still stands. The project is still fantastic. They continue to add young talent, okay, and sign all these young talents, but make no mistake about it, it is a cash cow. It is a cash cow, and only the elite with less risk and percentage of not hitting their potential should be integrated, okay? Right now, I'm looking at this Juve in stages. We're at stage 1. Year 0, we heard about year 0 a ton. Strengthen your starting 11. That's number 1, okay? Make the best, the strongest possible starting 11 you can. Then you get your depth. Then you start working on your depth. All these things we talked about earlier, Alex P brought it up, assessing your talent a little bit better and moving on, that'll come. Solidify your best starting 11, then you work on your depth. With working in the depth, then you'll start seeing the key young talents also being integrated in helping with that role. But we cannot be pulling 8 next gen guys, year in, year out, and take ourselves seriously as contenders if we want to be contenders. It's just, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But as far as next gen goes, the project's still fantastic, but I feel like people bought in a little too much. And you still are missing key circumstances around all of this. Because even Dr. A, who earlier brought up selling Sule, keeping another talent that he doesn't feel should be there. Well, a lot of stories to that. A lot of factors that nobody's thinking about. Again, a lot of people are overlooking. It's our year to comply with FFP. Okay? And furthermore, the targets. Cope Miners and Todibo. How long do you wait? Do you wait long enough that you miss them in trying to sell Szczesny, Milik, Rugani, Deschilio, etc.? that may not even drum up enough that you need to get the deal over the line? No. You act, and you act accordingly. Sacrifices needed to be made. We talked about it for like 3/4 of last season. That going into this summer, there was going to be sacrifices that had to be made. If we come out with still the big main guns, I'm happy. If we made all these additions and a guy like Bremer is still sticking around, I'm happy. You know?
Yeah, and it wasn't a surprise. They've been on the market for like more than 2 months now. We've been hearing about both of them being up for sale. Like if a Jolly gets sold suddenly, that would be a shocker. That would be something we didn't expect.
Yeah.
But we've kind of been preparing for life without Sule and Hoysen. Maybe one of them will be great. Maybe they won't. But you know what? Maybe other teams should find that out.
We're covered if they do with the sell-ons. And if it doesn't, well, hey, then we're okay. One way or another, I ain't looking in the rear view. We gotta keep pushing ahead. We gotta keep pushing ahead. There was a comment in there from Don Valentino asking, did Motta actually say it was a good defeat? He said defeats like that could be good if you learn from them, which we must, because we need to improve quickly. All right? So calm down. Again, everybody, calm down, all right? Now, in terms of those targets, Toribo, there's a meeting set to go down today with his agent. His agent apparently, which makes no sense to me because the terms are fine between and have been sorted out since like June, sometime in June. As far as coal miners go, latest rumors are it's going to be somewhere around maybe 48 to 50 where it finishes, all right? So, again, Atalanta could push for 60. We'll see how it goes. They are tough cookies when it comes to dealings. But let's see. Let's see where everything finishes. Those are the next two on deck. Facundo Gonzalez. What did you think of his game yesterday? Because the news today says the decision's already been made. According to Mirko Di Natale, he will be loaned out. He will be loaned out. I have no problems with it. I don't see him sliding in there this season. But, I mean, he also looked decent.
I wasn't overly impressed with what I've seen from him, at least yesterday. But I did watch him during the Euros that made us buy him. And he was like, I don't know, named the second best player of the tournament or something like that.
He won player of that tournament.
Oh, so he was the player because there was the other CB with him who I thought was ahead of him. Never mind. He needs a loan. Like one of the things that frustrates me a bit is he'll have the same case as Cavilla, who actually stayed with the team and wasn't used enough, and it just got him stuck behind. I don't want him to get stuck behind all the CBs we have right now, barely getting any minutes. That would be a waste of a season. I would much rather have him play for another club for another full season. He has a lot of time, both on his contract and in his career in general. Yeah, give him the loan now.
Yeah. Trim, loan?
Yeah, and I was gonna say it's kind of telling in a sense because he seems like a guy based on the lack of anything coming out of his mouth or his camp in terms of where he wants to go, where he thinks he should be. Like I kind of compare him to Hoysen in the sense that they're kind of at the same position in their career, and you got one guy who thinks he's too good for NextGen, too good to be playing for like to go out on loan. Like he wanted to be sold. Hoysen wanted an opportunity, thought and felt that he needs big time minutes, goes to a place like Bournemouth, right? And then you've got someone like Gonzalez who just seems to be, very composed, very quiet, and just, okay, you want to send me out on loan again? Sure, why not? I'll go out on another loan, right? And that's, I think, the difference ultimately in why they're keeping him around and Hoysen's gone, right? He just thinks that he's better than where he's at in his career, but again, he's so young. So I like it. Again, like Omer said yesterday, didn't really see enough from him to kind of have an opinion one way or another. I did see flashes of things that I like, but again, it's hard to base it on a meaningless friendly that they ultimately didn't play well as a whole. So seeing him go out on loan again would be good. I think this time around, though, he was at Sampdoria last year in Serie B. It would be nice to see him going to a Serie A club if there are any takers or that are willing to take him out on a season-long loan, and then just go from there.
I'm fine with the loan, but it depends. If we make certain moves and certain guys leave, I wouldn't be opposed to keeping him around, but I would have liked last loan not to be in Serie B for him. And that's what I always said when he went to Sampdoria. I was like, I would have really liked that one to be in Serie A to really gauge more and maybe kind of get that development kick-started a little bit more. But I don't mind what I see from him. But again, there were some guys in yesterday's game that I think were kind of coasting along and we didn't really get involved too much to get good, solid reads on him. I think he was one of them. But I did see some posts out there where people were raving about him. I didn't see enough to rave about him, but I definitely saw enough chops there that I could see why he's highly touted and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. The attack. Chiesa apparently wants to renew. So the latest rumors are he does not want his contract to run out. Swarit, where are you at, amico? Okay, where are you at, brother? Swarit. So he does not want his contract to run out. Again, I said this on yesterday's video, and I stand firm on it. This whole thing, I can't help but watch yesterday's game. I haven't believed it since day one, and I don't believe it now that Motta would say, I don't want Chiesa. I don't buy it. I don't buy it for a second. I feel, and always and have for quite some time now, there's something that went down with Chiesa and Juve/Giuntoli, and this has been a Giuntoli-Chiesa pissing match. Something happened. Otherwise, the rest of it doesn't really make sense because if we're looking at the attack, this plan that's been laid out, purchase one of Adeyemi or Galeno, loan one of Sancho or Conceição, and still sells Chiesa. The plan is still to sell Chiesa. I don't understand why we would not revisit a one-year renewal, especially having the leverage that he has nothing there for offers. And selling him on 20 whatnot, something has happened. Do you guys think something has happened, or am I just on my own here?
No, that's the general feeling. There is something there we don't know about. Some maybe break in the relationship, maybe just both of them standing the ground a bit too much. But it's not down to tactics. Juventus are not haggling with Chiesa because they don't think it fits the tactics. Like there has to be something backstage. Yeah. Again, I hate knowing about those stuff and the rift they have backstage between players. I don't think it matters in the end. Like it's the performances on the pitch, because like good managers are able to make that disappear, or just you wouldn't notice it. Like who were the two strikers for Man United back in the 90s? I think it was Dwight York and Andy Cole, who absolutely hated each other. But Ferguson just told them, yeah, shut the fuck up, I don't care, you're going to play together. So you would never have guessed that during their playing time. It's only later the stories came out about how much they hate each other. So yeah, ultimately it shouldn't really matter. It's not a tactic issue. There's something with Chiesa backstage we don't know about. I maintain my position. I think Chiesa lives to fight another day for Juve. He survived this summer. He stays this season, maybe even renews.
I said, for me, I'd look at adding one of those players on a loan and renew Fede on 1 year. I think it's still best case for all involved. It's no skin. Like, if anything, it's a little bit of a safety net for Juve, because I don't really know about these replacements as being stronger per se. So it's not like you're making a crazy improvement on the position. I'd look at bolstering it with a loan, probably Conceição, and I would keep Chiesa for a 1 year renewal. I don't know, Trim. Where are you at? Would you offer him up the 1 year renewal, or do you think bringing in? Do you think that plan is a better option for Juve, picking up one of Adeyemi Galeno and a loan on one of Conceição and Sancho?
Yeah, so I've always been with the club and their decision in terms of whatever they decide, I'm okay with. So I've never been actively one of those people who are saying sell Chiesa because I don't like him and I don't want him to stay. But at the same time, I'm also of the belief that like the player has to make it work with the club. So for me, I want him to stay, and a 1 year renewal makes the most sense. We've said it a couple times now. We kind of share the same opinion that yeah, it's best for both player and club at this point because there's no real concrete offers out there of teams that want him. Nobody's ever really made an offer as far as we know. It's just been media speculation in terms of the club's interested, the amount of money that Juve is willing to sell him at as low as 20 million. Like I've never bought any of that. I think he stays if that's the offers we get is 20 million or less. Like I think Juve only want to sell if it's 30 or more. Yeah. Having said that, with Motta specifically, there's been rumors that, oh, he doesn't want him, this and that. I've personally never bought that. I actually think that Motta has little to no say in the matter when it comes to Chiesa. Even if he said he wanted Chiesa to stay, this has always been to me a Giuntoli versus Chiesa situation for whatever the reason is. We don't know. Like you said, it's something behind closed doors. So what I think is best to do is for both club and player to come back to the drawing board and back to the negotiation table and just say, listen, sit down. And, you know, I think I mentioned it last week, like 5 million a year extension for this year, and then renegotiate or reevaluate next summer, and then go from there. Because yeah, like of the guys that are mentioned to be potential options, I was never comfortable with selling Chiesa and bringing in two of those guys. Like for me, it's got to be one of to complement and play behind Chiesa in a sense. You know, you look at the list. Adeyemi's 22 years old. Conceição's 21, so he's the youngest of the four. Sancho's 24. Galeno's 26. In terms of statistics, if you're one of those people that looks at the stats, Galeno had the most, I think, contributions last season overall. So I don't know. I don't know enough about him personally, but I would be, like you said, more comfortable with Conceição. Maybe Adeyemi because he's young and it's like a kind of a high risk, high reward situation. But again, there's injuries, right, to factor in. But there's also injury concern with Chiesa. So, I mean, for me, the end, to sum this up, keep Chiesa, 1 year renewal, bring in one of those guys as a backup.
So the whole thought about him not fitting Motta'S style, I see several comments out there. How does he fit Motta'S style? Like, it's because he doesn't fit Motta'S style. What on earth happened yesterday that Chiesa doesn't fit in? How, yeah. Like, how? How does he not fit in? I don't understand that. You try to utilize wingers in 1v1 scenarios. They did that a ton with Orsolini last season. I don't know how many times you saw Calafiori launch a ball out, a corner ball out to that flank, and then it was him running at the area. How does that not suit him? I don't understand. One of Chiesa's best seasons, his best season actually, and for us, he played outside mid in a 4-4-2.
Yep. Purely.
What is happening in Motta'S system? I would challenge those to tell me how he doesn't fit that. It makes no sense to me. Omer, you make...
Tactically, no, I don't see any reason why he... Like, if Motta actually said it, I don't get why.
I don't believe it. And I don't believe it. I'm not buying that.
I get that he's a bit limited in his play. He's like sort of one-dimensional. And his best strengths are his like dribbling, one-on-ones, and he's the quintessential wide player, and less more of a, you know, what Del Piero became, and like a central figure who distributes passes and doesn't rely on his speed. But still, we've seen Motta play, how Bologna played, and they were very reliant on their wingers. I didn't see any special demands from Motta to them. They just played like winners. It was the timing of the movement and stuff, but they didn't become like central midfielders in the build up and then moved to striker and back to the wing.
Yeah.
So yeah, tactically, I don't see anything that Chiesa shouldn't be able to handle.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a very, very weird situation. But again, like I said, the latest rumors, Skira says Juve will take 20 million to move him, and Bedula states that Chiesa does not want his contract to run out. Hey, we'll keep following the saga. We'll see what happens. We got Storm the Barn. We're gonna get to these. I have a Storm the Barn for everybody too that we'll get to, and you've got two. Okay, so let's fire away. First up, Adam's asking about the keeper kit. What did you think about the goalkeeper kit? I thought it looked good on Di Gregorio there. I think it's a little wild, but I like it. I don't mind it. I don't mind
It was
it.
the yellow one, right?
So,
Yeah,
was it?
the yellow one.
Well, green. I think it was green yesterday.
Green, was it green?
Yeah.
Okay. Fit broadcast.
It's got all that design on the front there. It's not bad. It's not bad.
I like the red one more, the one that they published like a week ago, I believe, 2 weeks ago maybe. Had like the goalkeeper red shirt. That one was sick. I would have loved it. That would have been our away kit, actually.
Man, I'm the opposite. I liked it in green better than the red. I don't like the red. It's a very angry color. I don't like it.
Oh, we should be angry Juventus. We haven't won.
That's it.
There we go. Sweaty, it's pretty evident that Coop is absolutely indispensable for Motta'S Juve. How late can we afford him in this window? Because he's a priority. If Coop does not come for some, whose replacement? I've been saying this steady. I'm going to stand for like I don't see Juntali missing on Cope Miners. Everything is there for the deal. Your last obstacles were cleared. It's going down. It's just a matter of the details now, but it's going to happen. I don't see him missing. If I was going to look at alternatives, honestly, I would go back to it's not done yet, and it isn't, but there are some concerns there with players that have family as agents, but Samardzic, I still probably would aim that route, although yeah, I don't know. It's a big hit there if you don't land Cope. I think Cope Miners comes. So I'm just gonna say flat out, we're not missing. We're not missing. Trim?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna miss out on him either. But in terms of like how late are they gonna be willing to let it go? Like I would say maybe second week of August, like just before the season starts. But like, I don't know. He doesn't. I don't get that sense or that feel that this is going to be one of those like August 31st or August 30th like purchases like right at the end of the window. Like I think they've already got something figured out. We've heard whispers kind of behind the scenes. John Groh, president of the fan club, mentioned that he feels the deal's already done with Atalanta. Like they've got it sorted out, and they just had to wait for the sales of Sule and Hoysen to finally like put it over the line. We'll see based on how quickly it actually ends up getting done. But no, it's getting done. He's the number one target. They'll figure it out. I would say beginning of August at the latest.
Do you have a name, Omer? If it's not Cope?
Goodmanson would be my pick.
Nice. Yeah.
Goodmanson, I think, is a more ready than Samardzic. He has definitely shown more in the league. Maybe a bit more similar to the way Coop plays. But that's about it. But I think the Coop deal will get finalized this week, even before it becomes August.
I kind of wiped Goodmanson out with the personal stuff, and that's why I kind of brushed him aside after that and whatnot. But as a player in a vacuum with no bullshit from the outside, yeah. This one kind of ties into my Storm the Barn. Okay, Marco's got one that says, guys, with the lack of wingers we have right now, do you think Motta might end up playing in a 3-5-2?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah,
I think he'll give it a go with his style, and it will have to go really bad for him to change to a formation he has never played with.
Well, what's interesting is that he's he's not far off. He doesn't match this on the top side of things,
Hmm.
but you saw it all throughout the game yesterday where the CBs were bombing. CBs were bombing, and you do get that extra body in the middle. And the thing is, you don't lose out on the top. So he's just like, it's overboard. But yeah, I don't know if he'll ever set up or truly base out of a 3-5-2. I wouldn't expect that. I would still expect your wingers there. And that has more to do with how he presses to win the ball back. And that's why I'm going to say no to that being the main setup or something he switches to, is because a lot of it is pressure in the final third, which we did see a good job of in yesterday's game. When we lose the ball in the final third, it's already set up seamlessly to apply that pressure in order to regain the ball. So that's one of the main reasons, because it's such a big part of his philosophy. I don't see him doing that. But you never know. But my question, before we get to all these other ones, my question is, what area on the pitch do you have the most concerns about right now as it stands? Because I think there is some concerns out there, most in attack, most in defense. I think the mid is where I'm feeling okay with, but I do have concerns. So what phase concerns you most right now?
Okay, so it kind of ties into to one of my questions. So yeah, I'll just say it. Right now, it's striker, because it was even in the comments here today that Vlahovic is streaky. He can go on scoring like 6 games in a row and then disappear for 2 months. And if Milik leaves, yeah, that's even a deeper problem. Even though I don't think both of them kind of suit the Motta style of play, but we'll have to see. But we can't bank on Vlahovic always being there, always performing at top level. Now, to add to that, one of the names that popped up that you've asked questions about, it came from Matteo Moretto, and it was like during our podcast now, is Max Bayer from Hoffenheim, which I think would be a sick signing. It would be great. I don't know if Juve are actually serious about him, but that's one hell of an option. But we do need to get someone. I'm concerned with the striker role right now.
Yeah, it's one of the big question marks we've had the entire time. Even when Motta was appointed, we were asking about Vlahovic and how's he gonna. Because if you watched Xerxes play, it's night and day.
Yeah, it's
Night
not the
and
same
day.
type of player.
It's night and day to Vlahovic's game. It's completely different. Can Motta adapt enough with the other guys to make it somehow work? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how Vlahovic goes through this. But I think boosting the attack right now, you've got to find somebody that kind of does suit Motta's role. Even if he's not going to be 1A out of the gate, you have to get somebody in there that makes sense to his game. And you got to do that really quick too. Really quick. The attack for me is the biggest concern. At the back, I think once the regulars are in, I actually am not too worried. I know there was mistakes there yesterday, but I'm not really worried about it because of how makeshift it was really the entire time. Like, I think it's going to shore up. Again, they're still trying to figure out this system. And that's one of the things that I was also concerned about. That's why I said it's defense and attack, but it's which one do you have more concerns with? Because defensively, with him choosing those center backs to go in and take that space and push another midfielder forward, etc., you are going to leave yourself vulnerable at times. And we were yesterday at times. It's about cleaning that up and balancing all that out. That's going to take some time. You had times there, Jallo was beyond our striker. He was beyond Sekulov. And then, yeah, you lose it. You turn it over. Boom. They're coming back at you. So that protection and all that, balancing all that out, it's key. It's something we got to think about. But the attack for me, yeah, I've really got some question marks around there. I got question marks around striker. Although I'm not really going to shit on Duchan by any means. I just think it would be really, really smart of Juve to find somebody that could come in, that could play to Motta'S game and still be around. The
Yeah, a bit of a
wingers,
different profile
yeah,
to
just a,
Vlahovic.
yeah,
Milik is exactly the same. It's like a pillar in the center of the attack,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
and you
agree.
need to have the option of someone a bit who moves around a bit more.
I agree. I agree. And at winger, I want to see, some boost made there. So it's going to be interesting. But the attack, I do have some concerns. And yesterday, one of the other things in the game is, again, I don't see this happening with the guys with a little bit more experience and whatnot, because you saw Weah do it and the other guys weren't. They took too long to make their cuts into the box. They kept their width way too long, especially Comenencia. Bangula did a good job, but he also did it on several occasions. And then when our mids, Fagioli, Caviglia, etc., got that ball in the chance to distribute, those guys still kept their fucking width and they didn't have that coming in. So again, it's putting it all together. But that's one of the things I noticed is they kept their width, a lot of those guys that were inexperienced, way too long, and they didn't give those mids options when they got the ball with the opportunities to actually send them through. So something to watch. But the attack, we definitely got a couple concerns there. Who should be our penalty taker next season? I think Fede, if he stays, and or Douglas Luiz. Well, obviously Vlahovic missing the PK yesterday. Vlahovic taking a ton of heat. When it comes to PKs, honestly, just see who the best is in training and let him take them, whoever the hell it is. I don't really care who it is. So I can't, for me to be said who should be our penalty taker, I have no idea, because I don't see these guys train day in, day out, and who's the best at them. No idea. I think I saw Chiesa take a PK for the first time last season.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Whoever is the best at them in
Really
training takes them. Period.
Yeah, we haven't really seen anyone take it aside from Vlahovic, Chiesa, and Milik probably last season.
I don't want Milik taking it. That prance can fuck right off.
That's ridiculous.
I don't want Milik taking him whatsoever. Yeah.
If Gatti played more, we saw him hammer one home, I'm pretty sure. And get Gatti in there with the cement boots.
Yeah, there was a time it was Bonucci.
Yeah. Berto over Vlahovic. Hey, I've got a great success rate. Okay, PKs. Guys, got a great success. And no little stutter steps or prancing over here, man. 2 steps and hammer. Hammer, all right? Let's go. I really think with the inclusion of Cope Miners and Toribo and a top score, we might challenge Inter. But I still think Inter are favorites. What are your thoughts? We kind of answered this, I think, on last week's, that it's theirs to lose. We're still building up and everything, but I expect Juve to compete for sure for that title. I don't care if it's year 1 with Motta and whatnot. I expect us to compete domestically. And I think that needs to be the aim. I said that maybe Inter might have a lot of focus on European play, but for us, domestic, we got to have a serious focus domestically, in my opinion. Guys, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Napoli are going to be the more of the issue in the league. Inter are not doing a whole lot. I mean, they had their big revolution last season. They're just filling in some roles, mainly for rotation. But yeah, like you said, it's theirs to lose. They're the more far advanced team in terms of their project. Everyone else, almost the entire league, actually changed coaches except for Inter and 2 others, I believe. It's year 4 of Inzaghi. I mean, they are the ready product right now, and no one else is. So yeah, it's theirs to lose. But again, so many games this season. I still don't think they have a roster to compete on 4 fronts or even 5. And something's got to give. I think Napoli will be more of a hassle this season than Inter, to be honest.
All right. Trim.
So Just to keep it short and sweet, it's funny because I felt really good about our team last year and our chances of competing, and we quickly saw what happened there. But to be fair, they competed right up until that Inter game, which was mid-January. So to add a guy like Todibo, to add Coop Miners, the real work starts now for Juntli to try to get some of these outgoings sped up with McKennie, Kostic, Milik, DeShilio, you know, add whoever else to the list. There's a bunch of other guys, but yeah, I still think Inter are definitely favorites, and they should be, rightfully so. They're the most complete team, and they won last year. But we're right there. We're right there with that Coop Miners edition. Just fill out the rest of the roster and get rid of some of those deadweight pieces, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be competing a lot further into the season this upcoming year.
Absolutely. And like I said, for me, I know I might be alone in this, but watching yesterday, the optimism for me was how much of Motta'S plans were actually put into play and coming through already. With a boost on the lineup and an actual starting 11 lineup, I have no doubts it's going to be night and day what we see. And obviously we'll have a dress rehearsal so we can take a look. Some Lord DeShilio love going on here in the chat. Can't sell DeShilio so I can buy his shirt. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Cynic love.
Come on. Come on. We got some, oh man, we got a lot of Storm Bards. Let's try and machine gun some of these. Would you be happy with Adeyemi, Conceição, and Raspadori be the three players to strengthen the attack? All three of them? So Chiesa out, Adeyemi, Conceição, and Raspadori? I don't see it happening. I think maybe two, okay? As far as, well, the latest rumor is that Juve's prepping the offer for Galeno. But again, it changes with the wind in the Mercado. Adeyemi is apparently agreeing to terms with Juve. I'd be happy with Adeyemi and Conceição. I would be. Raspadori, I don't mind the guy. I understand he's pretty versatile and it would make sense, but I'm not crazy. Like, none of those names really hype me up 100% if I'm being 100% honest.
Yeah, if they can be Simone Pepe, I'll be happy. But those are still all young guys.
Yeah,
very
like
young.
none
Like,
of
I
it's
wouldn't
really
make them this signing that should take you a step forward. None of them are.
Yeah.
I like Conceição. I would really like to make that pickup, but again, not at the point of like banking on it. I'm not crazy like to the point where I think, oh, he's going to be world beater with us, but I just like the pickup, especially if it starts with a loan because he's so young and has a ton of potential. But none of those guys, like even with the Sancho move and whatnot, like I don't see them as being like, oh yeah, like huge impact. That
Like,
much more than Chiesa would bring. I'm not buying it. You know?
A few years ago, we kind of said the same about Joao Felix.
Yeah.
And he was like a highly touted talent. And now, do you want him? He's pretty much unable to find a place to stay. He's been at Chelsea, he's been at Barca. They're not renewing. Atletico wants to get rid of him. You got to be careful with those young guys and banking too much on them. Like, they can all turn out to be Felix.
Mark saying we do not need a sub for Vla or Yildiz, but a top scorer who can be a first team player. Do you agree? If yes, who would you suggest? So what? Get a top scorer who could be a first team player? So not getting a sub, but getting a top scorer. Well, honestly, going back to the guy that I kind of brushed off after personal reasons, but Goodmanson would be a guy that's got, the potential to be a top contributor that would be out there. Outside of that, like a top contributor, who have we been linked if that could be a top contributor? It would depend on how it pans out in the system. So to kind of predict that, but I don't think there's top scorers amongst the league that are realistically available. You know?
Yeah, like for me, Goodmanson, I'm just thinking now, like he was a guy that at the beginning or the end of the season and kind of the beginning of the Mercado was before his personal issues was like arguably one of our top targets that we were looking at, along with Coop. So if you're telling me you can bring in Coop Miners and add a Goodmanson as well to maybe play out wide, like that's it for me. Like I'm good with just that alone. But it will be interesting to see, because I think the big thing too with Goodmanson was the price tag, and it was high or higher. Maybe now it's lowered a bit. I'm not sure, especially with all that behind the off the field stuff. So we'll see. It'll be pretty interesting. But I'd be thoroughly happy with Goodmanson in comparison to those other four names. Goodman's clear of all four of those guys. Goodmanson's clear of all four of those guys for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Again, we got Tunda, Machine Gun. Let's try and rock some of these. Other Mark. We got multiple Marks jumping in here on Storm the Barn. Who will be the most difficult to sell? McKennie, Szczesny, Artur, Deschilio, or somebody else? So the latest is that Fiorentina has interest in not only McKennie, but Daniele Rugani as well. There apparently have been talks that started a day ago between McKennie and Fiorentina. I just don't understand this guy at all. Like, McKennie is a freaking enigma. I can't figure this guy out. Had a great deal in front of him. Willing to talk to Fiorentina, whatnot. It's making no sense to me. I think the most difficult move out of all of those ones is Artur on a final sale.
Yeah, I agree.
Deschilio, he will play or go to, a team like Monza, etc., whatnot. Szczesny, I think, I truly believe him, will not be a problem for Juve. He always said, and he was always consistent with the fact that if he never wants to be a problem for the club, like if they decide I don't play my contract out, then that's fine, I'll move on. McKennie will be difficult, but I think ultimately, push come to shove, he's going to go somewhere to play. So for me, it's that final sale on Artur that is going to be the most difficult. Guys,
agree? Yeah. Artur seems to be the one most difficult to sell. The salary, the terms which we signed him, which make him a loss no matter how we get rid of him. And the overall play, yeah. I mean, there aren't a lot of teams knocking on the door, and the ones who do turn away because of the price tag and the salary and stuff. Like, I kind of don't see him leaving on a sale only when his contract ends.
Yeah. Now we got, oh my God, what happened in this chat today? Is Finland Scandinavian? Is Finland better than Denmark? Anyone interested in visiting Sweden? Yes, there's interest there.
Sure.
Okay. But Finland better than Denmark? We'll leave it up to you guys to decide. Okay. What about the team? Man, I can't believe how many people were talking about the black shorts yesterday.
Shorts, yeah.
I love the black shorts, but the white line it kills it for me. But I've always preferred when Juve plays in the black shorts. But the white line, it didn't match up to the kit. And the reason it didn't match up to the kit is because the kit's got the lines, the swoop in the side here, but you can't see it. It was originally going to be black and it was going to be gray. The first mock-ups of those kits had a gray line that swooped. And then when you get to the shorts, it was white with that same gray line continuing. Since they changed it and that line's white now on the shirt, you can't even tell that it carries on into the shirt. So it makes it look like the shorts, like these freaking lines are coming out of nowhere, right? Take the line out of there, but the black shorts is the way to go. Like black shorts, black socks with our home kits, I've always loved and always preferred. Guys?
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. I liked the shirt yesterday, and that's about it. I didn't notice it in that much detail.
Yeah, for me, just solid black shorts, crisp, no pattern or no line, just solid black shorts, black socks, ready to rock. That's it.
Yeah, black shorts, way to go. Now,
okay, I have a question for you.
Fire away. We only got a few Storm the Barns left, but let's get yours in here.
Yeah, not Juve related. How did you like the Gojira show on the opening ceremony of the Olympics?
Oh.
First
I
time
didn't watch it. I'll be transparent. I didn't see it. I know.
First medal show in the history of the Olympic Games. I heard a lot of complaints from American fans who said, "Yeah, that's the way to go. Why hasn't Metallica performed in the Super Bowl since they're so synonymous with football? And they actually are a fan of teams."
Yeah.
The medal show, I had no issues with. The rest of the ceremonies was a disaster.
Oh, the rest was a disaster, definitely.
Like, unbelievable. I was almost appreciative, though, because it was such a nightmare. It made me feel really good about Juve's game. And maybe that's why I'm more on the optimistic side, because that was such a shit show. It made me feel really good about that. But that was embarrassing, man. Like, beyond embarrassing. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Unnecessary and ridiculous. Brutal.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
Snoop Dogg with the world's most gigantic what do you call it there? He had it was so funny, the memes there, putting a joint in his hand when he carried the torch down in the Olympic. I loved it. But Snoop going in there, probably the highlight of the thing. But the medal show, it was cool. It was cool how they did that. But outside of that, just a gong show. Just a gong show, man. Holy Christ. I don't even have words for that. Now.
Yeah, the entire show was horrible.
Oh, crazy. Oh my God. Adam, come on, man.
Food.
Falafel here. Like, Adam, take it to the AJC Army chat. Become a member. Join up, everybody. If you are a member, we want to see you in there, all right? Would you be happy with Goodmanson, Toribo, and Mazraoui without Cope Miners? Yeah, I mean, we talked about that plenty with the previous questions. Goodmanson would be probably a top outside of Cope Miners. Toribo, Mazraoui, yeah. Sign me up. Sign me up.
Good.
Couple other ones. Let's go. We got last few, everybody. Where are we at here? Bremer is more of a bruiser, not a ball-playing center back. Can Toribo fit that Calafiori role? Well, we talked about that when the links came up with him and whatnot, and he's got decent ball-playing ability for sure. I don't know the degrees or the levels of it, but like he could definitely fill that role. Definitely. I think that's also the reason why he was immediately shifted to by Giuntoli the second that price went up on Calafiori. Okay? And Alex P., some things never die, and I appreciate it. Okay? Some things never die. I appreciate it. Hashtag Luca CB, ball-playing center back. Alex P. sticking to it. Shift Locatelli to center back. You know what? Might not be against that. But let's just see more. Let's just see a little bit more. Okay? You guys, I still say and stand firm there were some signs coming through, and I'm still on the positive, optimistic side because of how many signs we saw already out of Motta'S game try to be implemented immediately in a first preseason game. Let's get the regulars in the mix, and then let's see. Let's get more of them integrate, more of what we'll actually see in the season. I'd be surprised, shocked if we don't see a nice difference, okay? But yeah, I think right now to have doubts, no, it's way too early. And Motta said he has zero doubts that they will be a very competitive side this season. I have no reason for doubts, especially after one preseason game, especially after the makeshift lineups in first half and second half, okay?
Yeah,
Pump
this
the
is
brakes.
a crucial week.
Let's see what happens. Bring me Totebo, bring me Cope Miners, okay? And
everyone is back.
Cooking.
Bremer, Danilo, everyone is coming back.
Let's get the regulars back, and then we'll talk. And if it happens to play out the same, okay, then we might have a little cause for concern. But until then, let's stay calm. Enjoy your weekends, all right? We got Opa coming in here asking, is it Blanc 1664 or Heineken drug today? I'm going Heineken, all right? Love Heineken. But enjoy your weekends, everybody. You know where to be. I'll keep you in the loop on the news. Heading out to the lake today, so tomorrow morning's news break will be lakeside. All right, I always love the lakeside episodes, okay? And then look for a show on Playback. Join us. Join our room on Playback TV. The link is in the description to this video. So we'll have one maybe Monday or Tuesday night, okay? Again, Juve based, but also Serie A based. And all the shows on Playback are call-ins, okay? So we want to see you all in there. Enjoy your weekends. As always, no matter what, especially after a preseason game, it's fino alla fine, and it's Forza Juventus. Omer, Trim, always a pleasure, brothers. Take care.
Yeah.